Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey, hey, hey. We are
We're
live.
live. How you guys
Live.
feeling? What's up,
Hey.
champion?
Great and grateful. How are you?
Blessed and highly favored. I want the world to know it's an honor and a distinction to be on this platform, this mastermind alliance with these true champions. Listen, welcome to the team of possibilities, national, really international, really global. It's truly a universal book club. You know, this is so special. Leaders read. And I'm so proud of this platform. I'm so excited about what we're doing. Um, Episode after episode after episode, we're getting such great feedback. I want to give a shout out to all of Facebook world. I want to give a special shout out to Tava Nation. So special. And always give a great shout out to the captains of the Ark, Kenny and Shantae Lloyd. Let's give them their love and their props. Ladies and gentlemen, I am surrounded by a very distinguished, sophisticated panel, and I'd like them to take a moment to introduce themselves because this book club would be nothing without these intellectual giants. I want to start right to, I guess, what would be my right, Miss Sharita Leon, and then we'll work right around. Tell the world who you are, champ.
Great evening, everyone. I am Sharita Leon, two-time #1 best-selling author, international speaker, the protege of legendary Les Brown, a serial entrepreneur, coach, investor, and I am an executive director here at Tava.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Welcome. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Moving right around the phenomenal Dr. Atkins. Please tell the world who you are.
Hey. Thank you, Mr. Browning, for having me on this platform. And my name is Reverend Dr. Shanti Atkins, the senior pastor of the Antioch Baptist Church in the village of Harlem. We are the church with a big heart, and I am an executive director here at
Awesome,
Tava.
awesome. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. And last but not least, Pastor Durden, tell the world who you are.
Well, good evening, everybody. Mr. Browning, thank you so much for this amazing opportunity to be on this platform. I am Tammy Durden, executive pastor of New Faith Praise and Worship Center Church in Houston, Texas. I am also the image maker. I help women look and feel fabulous. I am a director too here at Tava and your health and wellness advocate.
Awesome. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. The book that we are reading right now is The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. This book is amazing. It's amazing. And look, just as a quick recap, you got to get this book. You got to dive into it. It's very hardcore. It's going to make you uncomfortable. The book is talking about files, the mental files that you hold based on conditioning, based on whatever the case is. Some files are based on scarcity and poverty and lack and limitations, but the rich have certain rich files. And I mean, this book is just talking about replacing the poor files with the rich files. And we left off last week. We had accomplished up to 12, I believe. We are now on page 137, Wealth File 13. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are a family. We are a community. If you are out there, if you can hear the sound of my voice, we have one humble request. Like this broadcast if you like it. Like it now because you're going to like it. Share this broadcast. Share it with your family because it's about intellectual power in 2021. It's about reading. It's about growing mentally, physically, spiritually. So share this broadcast to your own profile pages. And guess what? Leave comments, ask questions. We are community. We are family. Let's do this together. So here we are, wealth file number 13. Rich people focus on their net worth and poor people focus on their working income. Wow. I've had some great conversations with some leaders on this panel about net worth and investments, right? Had a conversation with Pastor Sean early this year. She put me on the phone with one of her mentors from Merrill Lynch. Hope that's not too much information, but that was a blessing. Sharita's been enticing me to get into the cryptocurrency world and investments. Oh, you too, huh? She's working through the whole organization, I see. Hey, listen, I'm not mad at you. I'm not, as long as there's no recruiting taking place. So listen, I'm going to start with you two champions. Pastor Jay, she told on you. Pastor Sean, tell me your idea about net worth and investments, and we'll go right to Sharita Leon. Then we're going to blow this file out the water. But let's just talk about your ideas of what net worth is and investments.
OMG. I love this chapter. You see, most of the time, people ask you how much you make, but that is not your net worth. And how often do people go and buy things that depreciate instead of investing in things that appreciate? So they'll go and buy a car and pay $800 a month when that could be your rent, instead of investing that money in a house that's going to appreciate. Let me tell you, we need to really educate our community about investing. He talks about poor people think that only the rich invest in stocks. And there's so many ways to invest nowadays. Back in the day, you had to have a lot of money to invest. Now they have Robinhood and other types of investment where you can get involved in. Even when you were talking about Sharita, I've had so many people talk to me about Bitcoins and things like that. And I think that we need to start educating ourselves. I think that as a community, we need to teach our children about investing early, that they can have property. Property never, he talks about this, how property, even if the value goes down, it's going to go back up again. And so you've got to just invest in yourself and do it now. And oh my goodness, I could just keep going when it comes to investment, but educate yourself. That's the key. Talk to people who are investing. Get with those who have your answer. Get away from people who have your problem. But investment, things that appreciate, that is the best way to go. Having passive income, that's what investment give you. That what Pastor Tammy calls overriding passive income.
Absolutely.
It's the only way to go.
Absolutely. And we're going to keep swinging this around. It's not a one-shot deal, because we're going to dig a little bit into this. But I mean, I'm just going off my personal experience. I mean, you are two champions that have been really, really pushing that for our entire organization, some harder than others. But Sharita Leon, up there looking so fly. Let me just ask you something. If you wouldn't mind coming off of mute just before we even dig into this content, go ahead and share with the world, what is your idea of net worth as it pertains to investments?
Oh my goodness. So, Pastor Sean said it. And it's so funny how he said this in the book. We are more likely to hear people say things like, what do you make an hour? What is your salary? But in the country club, they're talking about net worth. What is your net worth? And I've done research on this and I've spoken on it before. And it's so unfortunate that the average net worth for African Americans is a little bit over $400. So here we are with the smallest amount of net worth, yet have the highest buying power. There's truly this crazy wealth gap. And that's because a lot of times we're not having these conversations and we don't realize that just looking rich is not what you want to do. You want to be able to actually own things, have investments, so that way you have a net worth. What are you actually worth? What do you own that can actually bring you an actual result? And so keeping that in mind, we had to switch our thinking from what we're getting paid on an hourly basis, but also where are we actually putting our money towards? What are we doing with our money? How are we making it grow for us? How are we ensuring that we are wealth conscious and creating a pathway that our children's children can really have an inheritance? Because it starts off with us making those decisions. And as Pastor Sean said, times have changed greatly. So it's not that you need to have a whole lot of money to invest. That's a myth that people believe, because the truth is, most of the money that we put out eating out every week, on our hair, our nails, our shoes, we could have used all of that money to actually start investing and making our money work for us, so that way we could actually have a net worth.
Facts. That's some good stuff. Now we're going to start at the high end and then we're going to work our way back. Okay. Before I ask you a question, Tammy, Sharita mentioned the country club, and this is what she was alluding to. Here's the financial discussions in the country club, and it's high end, but you want to be able to get here one day. Jim just sold his stock options. Actually, that's not high end. We could do that right now. He's worth over 3 million now. Paul's company just went public. He's worth 8 million. Hey, Sue just sold her business. She's now worth 12 million. At the country club, you're not going to hear, hey, did you hear that Joe got a raise? Yeah, and a 2% cost of living allowance too. Come on. This is a serious wealth file, And so, Tammy, you're one of the best presenters in Tava, and you do use that language when you get the compensation that everybody loves, overriding passive income. And they talk about passive income. So I want to ask you a similar question, but I want you to dive into, your comprehension when it comes to net worth. How does passive income, and we can all take a stab at this versus working income, but passive income, how does that attribute to the net worth based on your knowledge and what you picked up in this book so far?
Wow, that's a great question, Mr. Browning. When it comes to passive income, the book, first of all, talked about different ways of creating passive income, whether it's investing in real estate or in the stock market, network marketing businesses to actually generate that income. But the book also talked about you can't really be wealthy unless you have that passive income coming in. That's the only way. We were conditioned when growing up. I know I can speak to myself, of just working real hard and making money. If you just work real hard and make money, then you're going to be okay. Nobody really talked about being wealthy or rich. And so when it comes to renewing your mind on the way you were conditioned, because a lot of people, they're just happy with getting by or surviving. If I can just pay my bills on time, that's going to be okay. But, there comes a time where we have to take it up a notch. And it starts with education. Like, we're educating ourselves today by reading this book. There's a whole new world out there. There's so many opportunities available for us to get wealthy, to have that passive income that's going to take us to a place of being wealthy. And so I am a great proponent for it. I think that more people need to be educated on it. And I'm super excited that we have this platform here to share that, to open the eyes of people and the ears of people that may have never even been exposed to, what, I can invest. It doesn't take a whole lot of money. Having that passive income is what's going to get me there. Not just working real hard, not spending 40 years on a job, getting paid and putting a little money aside. But that passive income is what's really going to get you where you need to be when it comes to being wealthy.
That's great. And for everyone to be clear, we're talking about net worth, right? As opposed to just working income. We're not frowning on working income. Working income, when you trade time for money, is part of the process of getting rich. The only problem is poor people only have working income. They don't have the other elements. Working income is important to finance passive income, finance investments. Now, I want everyone to understand that you can get into this. On this book on page 138, it teaches you how to find your net income, which is very, very important. It also teaches you how to gauge and track your net income. But there's 4 aspects of net income, all right? 4 aspects. And if you're listening out there, I just want you to know the first one is income. And income can be working income and passive income. One, you trade time for money. Working income, it's all based on your labor, hard work. And the other one is money you're making when you're not working. They're both income. The second one is savings. We're going to get into that now. The third one is investments. And the fourth one is the simplification of your life. Now, I want to ask you something, Pastor Sean. How do you feel about simplification? How do you feel about this idea that we're spending too much and we really need to, as a part of our net income, find ways to simplify our lives and simplify how much money we're spending? What do you think? What do you think about that?
I think it's necessary, especially in our community. Like I've said this before, we buy things to impress other people. And so downsizing, buying what you can afford. I was just speaking to somebody about stop spending so much money on unnecessary things and start investing that money. A lot of times, poor people, they see it as just a penny. But you can multiply, if you multiply that penny, it grows. He talks about putting money away. We take it as it's just a dollar. They see how rich people see how they can multiply that dollar to make that dollar millions of dollars. So you've got to learn how to simplify, downsize, do whatever you can to so you can gain the wealth that you can have that you want in the future. And it takes discipline. It takes patience. It takes, not being impulsive. A lot of times we want instant gratification. We want it right now. And you gotta become disciplined in your money and understanding that it will grow over a period of time.
Your money will grow over a period of time. That's a good segue. Because based on Parkinson's law, Sharita, it says that your expenses will always rise in direct proportion to your income. And that ain't no lie. That ain't no lie. You start making more money, you just find things to buy and that you really, really think you need. Like you really think it's smart, and you were so good last year without it. And so, how hard is it to make more money and still live off less, Sharita? You know this as someone who spent so many years as a financial consultant, an investment consultant. What do you think about Parkinson's law and this whole idea of minimalism and simplifying your lifestyle? Even, I'm not talking about on your journey. I'm talking about once you already made more money, you're already dealing with more money. What does that take to do that?
Discipline, like Pastor Sean said, discipline, and also having an abundance consciousness, because a lot of times when we have more money, it's like, oh, now I can do this because we were thinking in a place of lack before. And so now it's like, well, I need to go and get it now before I run out, thinking like, you don't have time to get it at another date. It's not like something that's pressing. So when you have an abundance consciousness, you know that, well, it's going to be here. If I need it, if it's really that important to me, I'll find a way to get it. It doesn't have to be so pressing for me. And so with us having that mindset, you won't have to move as, impulsively. In addition to that, it's also imperative that people want to actually make more and not just be okay with what they have and just, a lot of people say, well, just live underneath your means. Yes, that's part of it. But then also with that, make more money, because I think that a lot of people also get stuck with saving and saving and saving, or wanting more money, but not creating more streams. I'm the firm believer in that. Yes, you save your money. Yes, you should grow your money. You should invest it, but also create a stream for whatever you want. So if you have, a thing for shoes, create a stream that's designated just for your shoes, so that way you always have something coming in to help you with your particular desire. That's what I believe. Yes, be cautious with your money, be wise with your money, but also be able to create an additional stream just for particular things that you want to have in your life as well.
Oh, good stuff. I'm going to pose one more question to Tammy and Pastor Sean. Sharita, I want you guys to touch on this as well before we move on to the next file. What I love about this chapter, this file, is that T. Harv goes on to show you how, not only how to determine your net worth, but how to track it, right? And there's a principle on here that reminds me of everything we do in network marketing. Accountability. Anything that you gauge can grow. And I subscribe and I prescribe that every single person understands this. Because this formula is not just for your net worth, it's for every aspect of your life. See, it's basically saying when you track your net worth, and I'm not going to go into how you do that. You got to get the book and just learn the simple equation of charting it. But he reminds us that whatever you focus on expands. I just think that's worth $1 million. As he says often in training, where attention goes, energy flows and results show, right? So we got to remember these things. And by tracking your worth, You're focusing on it. And because you focus on it, it expands. Your net worth will expand. This is the law, and it goes for every part of your life. Whatever you track increases. Your sales volume, you're this, you're that, you're that. Come on, let's talk to this, guys, before we close out. Whatever you gauge will grow. Whatever you track increases. It says where the attention goes, energy flows, results show. This is the science of our business, production, and everything we do in life. So just want you guys to speak on this and any other comments before we move on to the next file.
Mr. Browning, this is so profound and it is so very true. It's a law and it's true. Of course, whatever you focus on expands. If you're not focusing on your money, if you're not focusing on your network, it's not going to grow. It's just going to be stagnant and there. And so whatever you put energy to, and so it's just going to increase. It's going to multiply, and that spills over to every area of your life, whether it's money, and it works both ways, both negatively and positively. So it's important that we put our focus on the right things. So when it comes to money, every day, making sure that you're tracking it. When it comes to your net worth, when it comes to your business, when it comes to your relationships, that principle can apply to every area of your life. If you focus on it, it's going to grow. If you neglect it, if you don't give any attention to it, it's going to become dead and stagnant. And I think a lot of times we either don't realize it or we take that law for granted, and we wonder why am I stagnant? Why am I not succeeding or growing or expanding in my business? Why isn't, more money? Why am I not attracting more money? Well, I'm not putting any energy to it. I'm not tracking it. I don't even have a budget. I don't even know what my net worth is. And so until we can put that focus and energy in that area, we won't be able to see things grow.
Awesome. It's actually, again, just a segue into the next wealth file. And I'm going to ask you a question. You can add on to that or just jump into this next question, Sharita. I want to ask you because we're going into wealth file 14. And it's simple. To master money, you must manage money. And rich people manage their money well. Poor people mismanage their money well. Okay. And so I want to go ahead and start with you, Ms. Leon. At the end of the day, these habits are based on conditioning. We're talking about the management of money now. The management of money. And I gotta just speak to that, and then I'm gonna move around with some questions. What is this? What sparked in you as you were reading this file?
Just like the godmother just said, ouch. So I know for me growing up, my mom never really taught me how to budget money. We never sat down, said, okay, this is for this. We never had those conversations. But it's so amazing because I was always a person that saved money. So as a child, my sister would spend her money, my mom would spend her money. They would come and ask me for money. Now, growing up, being that I didn't see how I was supposed to manage it, I didn't go looking to see what I actually had. So as I would grow into my adulthood and even into entrepreneurship, I would be like, wait, I made that much money? I was like, I didn't even know how much money I made because I didn't sit down to actually see what I was doing until I was able to get someone who would do my books for me. And I was like, oh, wow. And so when you're not managing it, it slips right out of your hand. And this is why a lot of people say, well, I don't have enough money to invest. That's a lie. Because the truth is, when you actually look at how much money you have after you've budgeted everything, what's actually coming in from money that was expected, money that wasn't expected. We get excited with those unexpected blessings, but we're not accounting for it. So it came in, and as fast as it came, it left. And so in order for us to be good managers, that's what stewardship is. It's not just maintaining it, but it's also growing it. And that's what real stewardship is. So we have to start looking at every dollar that comes in and say, where's my money going? That's another reason why I stopped using cash, because now I could go and look at my statements and see, girl, why did you just do that? And so you need to start cooking more. And those are real things that we have to look at and evaluate to ensure that we are managing and growing our money at the same time.
Good stuff. I like that. When you stop using cash, you can gauge and you can monitor those spending through those statements. That's right. Godmother said, preach, right? And so, Pastor Sean, I don't know about you, but when I went to school, Money Management 101 wasn't offered. Instead, we learned about the War of 1812, which, of course, is something I use every single day, right? So T. Harv says that in jest, and I just wrote LOL, because we learned so much garbage in school that we never, ever use. Why are they not teaching money management in the school systems? I mean, I guess that's why it's not being taught in the households. You can speak from a perspective of the clergy, but I mean, something that is an everyday necessity. Why isn't it being taught? I mean, how do you feel about that?
I think nowadays it's being taught more than when I was coming up. And how can people teach you something they don't know themselves?
There you go.
One of the things that I have started doing is tracking my money on a daily basis. And I just discovered my husband looks at his money on a daily basis. And it is important for you to track your money, because if you don't know where you are, you have no idea where you're going. Tracking your money helps you get out of debt. Tracking your money helps you to know when to invest, what to invest in, what you need to save for. And so tracking your money is necessary. Money is energy. And T. Harv Eker says, until you show you can handle what you've got, you won't get any more. That's a biblical principle as well, that we got to be good stewards over what we have. And if you don't know what you have, how can you track it? And so I think that most people, like Sharita was saying about, your money, looking at your debit, using a debit card and tracking your money so you know what you're spending. Most people, they have the money, but because they don't know what they're spending it on, it's not even an exchange. It's just leaving their hands. And so we got to educate, our children, educate our grandchildren. And that's the key to it. The church gets upset when you talk about money, but that's the thing they need is money. Money answers all things. And so it's my voice now to talk about investment. I don't care who, some people are watching me live now. I don't care what people think. You have information, you got to share it with the world. People have to know. And, I'm no good if I'm not sharing what I have to at least the next generation coming up. So I'm passionate about this money.
Wow, that's so powerful. Listen, this is some good stuff. Pastor Durden, we move right into this being a habit. Everything is habitual. One thing that I know, that we all know, is 90% of human behavior is based on habit. And T. Harv starts to speak on creating habits to manage your money. You guys got to get this book, right? Being poor is no longer an option. It's a sin. Okay, it's terrible. Okay, it's against God's will on your life. No more. Break the chains of generational poverty with knowledge and information and new actions. So we're talking about new habits, and we don't have enough time to teach these habits. But what did you feel when you read about these concepts of, there's 6 accounts? I don't think I'm getting too ahead of myself, but there's 6 accounts that he said that you can create, a play account, an investment account, a long-term saving account. I mean, just speak to the habits, but I will say this. Something I really liked here. This concept is not just policed by the physical world. Everything that we've been studying and training on in this book club has a thread of commonality, and it is spiritual principle. And, they say money miracles will occur once you demonstrate to the universe that you can handle finances properly. It's like there's examples here about what you do with $1. If you could show respect to $1, if you could show respect for $10, and I always say it, team, as future diamonds, as diamonds that you are, I always say, like, the network marketing gods, the network market, the miracle holders, they're not going to bless you with a team that you're not prepared to accommodate. If you can't lead 5 people, what makes you think you're going to be blessed with 25 people to lead? If you can't lead and duplicate leadership onto 10 people, what makes you think you're going to be blessed with 100 of God's children to lead and minister to and to take to another level? Man, he broke it down to the same thing with money. If you don't have the right habits to deal with $100, why do you think you're going to get blessed with $100,000? So I want to ask you, Tammy, and everyone can touch on this, about just the spiritual principle of creating the habits, and how he spoke to maybe having all these multiple accounts to kind of gauge your spending and to just have a great balance.
Well, Mr. Brown, if I can just touch really quickly on what Pastor Sean was talking about, and just being educated about, money and investing and all of those types of things. I think that as a people, as African Americans, as she said, you can't teach what you don't know. And so as a result of that, other cultures taught their children, which is why they have old money and generational wealth, although it wasn't taught in the educational institutions, in school and college. It wasn't taught in those different areas, but they were teaching their children at home. That's how their wealth continues to grow and stay and build. However, with our culture, it wasn't taught with us at home. They taught theirs at home. We didn't get teaching at home. And so now it's important for us to begin to implement that teaching, so that we can create those habits of wealth building, of managing our money. And so as we create those habits, because now we have the information, right, where we didn't have the information before, now our minds can be renewed to what's possible. And then we can be able to begin to create those habits. We can begin to do the things that are necessary. We can have that play account, as he talked about in the book, because there has to be a balance. He talked about there's one on one end of the spectrum, there's saving and investing. And then on the other end, there's that play account. So you save the money, and then you have to have that balance where you're actually enjoying, you're feeling rich, you're buying things that you want, so that it creates a synergy when it comes to wealth building and having that money. One of the things he also talked about was having a financial freedom jar. I implemented that. That's just a jar with money in it. Every day you put money in it, because this begins to attract wealth to you. This begins to say, hey, I'm focusing on my money. It doesn't matter if it's a penny. It doesn't matter if it's $5, $10, $100, whatever you put in it every day, because now you're creating a habit. Now I'm creating a habit of tending to my money, of saving money, of being wealthy, that mindset. So when you begin to do those activities, creating those habits, you'll begin to see those results in your life.
Awesome. Hey, I saw some phenomenal comments. I want to read some of those comments from the godmother and from some of the champions out there, because if you're putting comments in the chat, man, we love you for that. Dorothy Cook says, show respect for a penny. Poor people throw them away, not realizing if they save 100, they got $1. I pick up pennies that they throw away. I know she do. She ain't lying. That's right, Dorothy. Caroline says, grow, do the work, and show yourself worthy. Thank you, book club community. Gabrielle Lee says, you all are teaching tonight. Well, go ahead and cash app us, Gabrielle, if that's how you're feeling. I got Zelle, and balance is the key. Listen, this is awesome. This is some good stuff. And listen, we got time. We're gonna go ahead and knock out. Know what we're gonna do? Let's knock out one more principle. All right. Let's knock out wealth principle 15. Okay. Because I think we just hit a home run with the concept. We understand it's habits. Guys, you gotta get this book and you gotta read it. This is the secrets of the millionaire mind. All right, our last wealth file for this evening. Wealth file 15. Dr. Atkins, rich people have their money work hard for them. That's right. You work hard for the money, and then you make the money work hard. Do you guys hear that song? Yes. And you work hard for the money, and then you make that money work hard for you. That's a fact. But poor people, all they do is work hard for money. Again, rich people have their money work hard for them. Poor people work hard for their money, and that's it. So, I want to ask you this question, Dr. Atkins, after reading this sentence. Take a look at the real world, and you pastor right out of New York City to the real world. Pastor Sean, there's billions of people who slave away, working their tails off, and even all night long, right? Shout out to Lionel Richie. And are they rich? No. Are most of them rich? No. Are a lot of them rich? No. Most of them are broke or close to it. My God. Mm-mm-mm. Why is that? Why is it that people working so hard are so poor? What say you?
Linear income will never, ever get you rich. The bottom line, it's the passive overriding income that's going to cause us to be rich. So you said previously, people work a job, and on that job, the more they make, the more they spend. And so people think, well, I work 2 and 3 jobs, and then, maybe I can, make it. Can I just tell this quick story? Dorothy Cook told a story that changed my life. She's probably happy. She's probably smiling right now. She worked 2 jobs, and she bragged about how she was working 2 jobs. And the guy was like, you mean to tell me you're working 2 jobs and you don't even have $500? And how many people work jobs? I mean, work day and night. And because they don't have the passive income, residual income, money that's making money for them while they're sleeping. He talked about having things like a vending machine. I never thought of that. Things that will bring you income in, owning property.
Come on.
And it's just continuously educating and renewing your mind. And I want to thank you, because I think this show right here is making an impact on the masses, Mr. Brown.
That's right. This show right here.
Yeah. The millions of people that's watching right now.
Right. The billions and billions and billions out there. Hey, Sharita, Leon.
Yes, sir.
Understand, this is what rich people understand. See, these are some big words. Passive income, passive overriding, residual income. How about my favorite word? Give me the chills right now. Leverage. Rich people spend their days playing and relaxing and masterminding because they work smart. They understand and use leverage. They employ people and systems. And I know you are a student of the cash flow quadrant and a teacher of those principles. Can you tell the world, before we move forward, your philosophy of leverage?
Absolutely. Leverage is you not having to show up. You not having to show up and your money is still working for you. You being able to have systems in place and or investments. So whether that be real estate where you can buy a home and you have tenants, now that means money is coming in every single month. Whether that be you owning cryptocurrency, so where you're able to have it grow and work for you. Whatever stream of income you're tapping into as investments, it should be getting bigger. Whether that is network marketing, where you are now leveraging the systems in place and the efforts of a cooperative group of individuals, so that way you're able to see results while you're sleeping. All of that is what every wealthy person will tell you to do. I mean, there are billionaires from Warren Buffett to Robert Kiyosaki who will tell you that you need to be in network marketing because of the passive residual income that you can have. Bob Proctor said if he were to lose everything again, what would he do to start over? He would join a network marketing company. Why? Because this allows you the opportunity to tap into passive residual income. Now, the only people that truly have an issue with that are are those with a poor mindset, because most of them do not understand passive residual income. They are accustomed to the left side of the cash flow quadrant, which means they're tapped into linear income. So they clock in, they clock out, and they've been accustomed to knowing that my money stops when I leave my job. Now, money working for you is you being able to be with your family, travel, and you see those coins coming in. Money being able to work for you is leveraging systems in place to where if you created an evergreen course online and you've mastered marketing and you've mastered having traffic as you're going about your day, you're seeing people order from you. Leverage is that, being able to have systems in place, people in place, money working for you. We've been trained to have us work for money. And you mentioned the song earlier on with Donna Summer, she works hard for the money. No, my money works hard for me. My money makes money move. My bank got bank accounts. That's the mindset that we need to have. And with that, we start seeing a difference in our families and in our lives. And I think Pastor Tammy said it earlier. I have been around other cultures that don't look like me. And in the dinner table, their conversations are totally different. Their children know what stocks they have. Their children know what great-great-grandfather did. Their children understand making money work for them, and they've set up their children with trust funds. They know how to protect the wealth. That's a whole different conversation. Let me calm down for a minute. Y'all go ahead and take over.
Ooh, wait, let me tell you something. Wait a minute, hold on now. She was preaching. Woo! Let me tell you, what's the going rate for financial literacy conferences nowadays? Because at the end of the day, listen, I need an app that we can put at the bottom and scroll down that screen so they can give donations and they can tithe and give and we could name all types of names throughout this broadcast. Man, we could have put the pot out a couple times in these 40 minutes because you guys are bringing it. No, that's some good stuff, each and every one of you. And I'm going to tell you something, like we're having fun, but ladies and gentlemen, let me summarize this before we have one final round for everyone to answer this final question. Let me summarize. The definition of financial freedom is the ability to live the lifestyle you desire without having to work or rely on anyone else for money. That is so real. So you build up a net worth to get there. You build up leverage to get there. You build up passive income to get there. If you want to be free, you need to earn money without working. That's right here. We refer to income without work as passive income. To win the money game, the goal, listen to this, is to earn enough passive income to pay for your desired lifestyle. In short, you're financially free when your passive income exceeds your expenses. So I want to know, everybody that can hear us tonight, if you could pay all of your bills with passive income that was coming in every single day, every week, and every month, whether you worked or not, would that be a blessing for you and your family? Of course it would. And he does speak very strong about network marketing. And I don't think we have to advocate for network marketing anymore, right? There's nothing like building a distribution network or a sales team and being leveraged. We call it cooperative economics. This is what we do. This is what we're mastering. This is what we're experiencing. But team, I do want to ask this final question, and everybody can kind of take a stab at it because, we're really at that point. We got to get ready to wrap up. But without passive income, you could never be free. Let's just keep it real. You're going to work 40 hours a week for 40 years and die poor, okay, for the most part. So why aren't people fighting for passive income? We touched on a couple of things. I want to put this question out there, get your feedback on it. Harv is saying that it's conditioning. Most of us are programmed not to earn passive income because our parents said, if you want something, go work for it, go get a job. The second thing is we just never been taught what passive income is in the first place. Okay, we've only been taught to trade time for money through hourly wages, commissions, and salary. And thirdly, we know about it, but we just don't put our attention there. We don't have the habitual connection to investing, right? So I just want to ask you guys, that, what do you say in closing? Having the best of both worlds, where you have working income. Salute to everyone out there that's responsible, has a job, taking care of their families and paying their bills. We love you. We respect you. Don't get the wrong impression. But you want to use that working income to finance your freedom, to invest so you can have the best of both worlds, working income and passive income. All I want to ask you guys is about, just a blueprint. What's the new blueprint? What's the file? How do you summarize this file? I'm going to start with you, Pastor Dirt, and work right around, just your summary of what we've experienced today, and specifically, this money personality that is being spoke about. Man, this is some powerful stuff. Woo, woo, woo. No, wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. Before we close out, I got to ask a question. Retail therapy. Oh, this was heavy. Before we close out, I want to hear everybody's response. Pastor Durden, Sharita, Pastor Sean. He's saying that a lot of people are spending things as a reflection of not having a happy life. I think we would be remiss not to touch on this from a psychological and emotional perspective. He's saying the dysfunction of overspending, that instant gratification spending, that materialistic spending comes from people that are sometimes empty inside. I mean, that's a ministry in of itself. Retail therapy, shopping because there's something missing with the self-love and the self-esteem. And that is very dangerous. Immediate gratification is from people who have a dissatisfaction in their life. What do you say to that, Tammy, before we close out? And let everybody comment on that. Dorothy said that's true.
That's very real. Oftentimes when there's a void in someone's life, and they seek out other things to fill that void. And so one of the things is retail therapy. People will shop, they will spend their last on things to feel better. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to feel good. Everybody wants to feel better. And so oftentimes, instead of addressing the real problem and getting the help in the areas where needed, I just want to feel good right now. I want that immediate gratification. Let me go buy some shoes. Let me go buy a hat. Let me go buy a dress, something. And I don't care if I just feel good for about a good 30 minutes once, or an hour at the party while I put that on. Girl, I look good. I feel good. But, when that wears off, what's next? You got to go buy something else and buy something again and buy something again, because the real void is not filled. That's only a temporary fix. And so that's very real, especially for women. We get caught up in that cycle, whether it's a bad relationship, something has happened in your life, and you're really just trying to satisfy that thing with the retail therapy, but it's only a temporary fix for it.
And as you touch on this, Sharita, I also want you to touch on this from a perspective of you got to change the file. So I want you to talk about the dysfunction of this emotional state, but the glory of getting to the point where you're there, but because you worked on the habit to change the file, that conversation you have with yourself tells you don't do it. Because that's the key, is when the wealth file supersedes the poverty dysfunctional file. And please speak to that, as you're changing your actual personality and your habits. No, you're changing your programming.
Absolutely. And that's why shows like this in the book is imperative, because it now, as you mentioned all the time, Mr. Lord talks about having a conscious interrupt. So now while you may be feeling like I'm not having a really good moment right now, maybe you may be thinking you're having a bad day. So naturally you go and make yourself feel good by going to buy something. You would stop yourself, because now you realize, wait, what am I doing? Sometimes people do retail therapy because it's a habit. Like you said, it's what they're accustomed to doing. Maybe their environment growing up, they've watched that as something that's normal. So they think, well, that's okay. Go splurge on yourself. We say things like that. It's okay. You deserve it. And so now we go and we do that, and we find ourselves back in the same spot. So now if you're conscious of the fact that, hey, I don't feel well, let me see what triggered this emotion. What
Mm.
triggered this? So now I can deal with the actual root of the matter before I go out to act on something that's impulsive and not the truth. And
Mm.
so if I can take the time to think about it, maybe get an accountability partner, do the 5-second rule, like, Meg talks about, allowing you to say, you know what, let me snap out of this. This is not what I need to be doing. And at the end of the day, you know what you're working towards. If you're working towards investing, if you're working towards having an exit strategy from your job and maybe investing in something or starting a business, writing a book, whatever it is, you remember that no, you deserve that, not the new shoes, not the new bag, not the new phone. That's what you're working towards. And once we can get deep inside and reprogram, put the new wealth files in our mind, we then have different habits that will lead us eventually to our end goal.
Amen. Pastor Sean, let's close out with this question for you. It's long-term versus short-term. Poor people work to earn money and live today. Very unfortunate. Rich people work to earn money and pay for their investments. Rich people buy assets. It says rich people see every dollar as a seed that can be planted to earn 100 more dollars, which can then be replanted to earn 1,000 more dollars. Wow, so powerful. Can you speak to that in closing?
Well, we teach that in the body of Christ. You
Right.
know, you sow seed, we believe you reap a harvest. And so, earlier in the book, T. Harv Eker talks about how thoughts turns into feelings, feelings turn into actions, actions equals results. And if you want results, if you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done before.
Mhm.
You asked a lot of questions, you said a lot, but fear keeps us from moving forward. And so I want to offer to those people that are listening to us live is that, you've got to change the files that are in your mind and develop the wealth files that God intended for you to have. And it comes from, again, educating yourself. It comes from, disciplining yourself and knowing you can have it all. I believe that every single one of us have the ability to have some kind of wealth. But you got to start where you are. You got to start today. And it starts with the renewed mind.
That's right. I'm ready. I'm just so fired up right now. This is war. Riches versus poverty. This is war. We are advocates of wellness. Everybody has their book, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. Listen, this is our tool. See, when I said war, this is our ammunition, and this is our weapons right here. Man, listen, this was amazing. We came, we saw, we conquered. Make sure you like this broadcast. Make sure you leave your closing comments. Make sure you share it with the world. Each one teach one, like the Care Bears. Sharing is caring, okay? And let me tell you something. Sharita, can you hold your hands up? Man, you see that ring and those nails? Pastor Sean, did you get that from Egypt? Do you see that necklace? And look at Tammy Durden with them earrings and that hat. Listen, guys, I just had to give a compliment. Don't they look amazing? They came and they represent, but it's not the beauty and the power, it's the intellect. I want to thank all three of you because you discern this information and you shared it like great servant leaders. I'm very proud of this book club. It's an honor to be a part of this panel. I pray that this information was shifting or inspiring to those who are out there viewing. And keep supporting us, okay? Keep supporting us. It's so hard to say goodbye, but we will be back next week to close out the final files of this masterpiece. They said it was awesome. Vanessa says, excellent information. Great job, team. We are empowered. Well, God bless you. Shirley Felton has the prayer hands. Again, thank you for watching. This is the Team of Possibilities International Global Universal Book Club. And God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you next week.